everyone. My name is Lauren Saracchione. If this is your first time catching me, I'm a 20-year fitness professional. I am an expert trainer of the binge habit loop. So what that means is I'm able to help people understand their self-harm triggers from the emotional level versus just like the things on the outside that trigger their behavior, because it is from the inside out. And today I wanted to share with you a little bit of an extension of the discussion that we had last night in Pilates Barbell Club Anchor's group coaching call. We talked about clearing the body of energetic imprints that happen, or like low vibrational, emotional, unconscious memories that stem from our ancestors. And so I wanted to share with you a really high level understanding of that process that takes place in the body through the concept of time. And then maybe you will find out that there is no time. It's completely irrelevant. You are not behind. Nobody is ahead of you. You're exactly where you should be. And your awareness of how time works facilitates your own self-healing. So let's jump into it. Okay. So I already connected to my heart space. So I'm hoping this is going to come out super succinctly for you. So first of all, if you watched my live stream from this weekend, I'm going to try to draw a better flashlight. Okay, so here's a flashlight. Now it's going to look less like a penis this time. And let's say it's like this, right? So here's our flashlight, okay? So this is also known as source energy, right? Okay, you ready for this? So in the live stream, what I shared with you was that when we look at a flashlight, okay, the part that's closest to where the light bulb is, the photons of light are really dense together. That's where it's really bright. But then as the flashlight, the photons of light expand from source, they get further away and they expand. And so if we're thinking of being out, like in the wilderness, and there's less light over here, less light means less information, which means there's imminent danger because you can't see if there's a bear behind a tree over here because there's less information for you to know what's in the darkness. The darkness, dun, 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 is not bad. There's nothing bad. There's absolutely nothing bad. As soon as we start to say that something is bad, and we take that as a judgment of, because I feel you are bad, it must mean that I am good. As soon as we have that unconscious belief system by stating something like the darkness is bad, then we are actually denying ourselves because we are part of this whole equation. Now, on Saturday or Sunday, I did this live stream where I was talking about this. And what I said is that there is a breaking point. Okay, we'll go here. There's a breaking point on the emotional scale, and that's called boredom, where it's just like a point of neutrality, and then shit or hell, bad feelings. This is where the emotions get more dense. They're further away from source. And then boredom and up, okay, is happy, is heaven, is good feelings. Okay, you with me? So if you're with me on the live stream, I can't watch it. I'm recording it doubly to make sure that I can capture this for YouTube in case Instagram glitches. But give a heart emoji if you're on board with this, if this is making sense so far. Now, when we're looking at this flashlight, all right, if you need to go back to the original IGTV, go ahead and do that. And we have the breaking point in the emotional scale. So this is time is already all defined for ourselves, for us in the emotional scale. And the conversation that we had yesterday was, how far are we going to allow ourselves to process? Are we going to allow us to go into the genetic details of our ancestry line, of the stresses that our mom, our grandma, our great-grandmother were under? Because on the genetic, chemical, emotional level, we were an egg inside our mom's ovary when she was inside in utero, your grandma. And it keeps going and going and going. And so there's this overlap of genetic chemical, emotional information that makes us who we are. This is why the family traumas, the patterns are passed down on a genetic level, because there's a genetic component to our existence, just like there's a spiritual and energetic. So if we have the genetic imprint from our ancestors of trauma, whatever trauma they went under, we also have a vibrational emotional body, which is called the light body. Now, the light body is on the anti-material side, the anti-material universe, and the physical body, which is made up of chemical, is on the physical universe. And when we combine these two emotional bodies, we're able to clear information. That's information. We are all just photons of light from source on the quantum level. And the emotions, as horrible as they are, especially when they are perpetrated onto us, are extremely painful. And there is physical healing that sometimes has to take place, sexual healing, mental healing, emotional healing, nervous system healing. All of that is still true. When we get through the time and space experience, the actual thing that caused us pain that we're still dealing with, that maybe we're stuffing ourselves or we're starving ourselves or we're working too hard or we're not working enough, those time, space potentials, experiences are just where the photon of light, the light body, where it was picking up information in the density of how far it was away from source. The more far away from source it is, the more dense the energy. The closer it is to source, the more energy. Now, as an example, as I've been going through my awakening process, and we all know I overshared it last year, okay, whatever, but it was like crazy as fuck, and I wanted everybody to know how exhilarating it was. When I have been processing my bad feelings, and I'm processing them in love, what's happening for me, my experience in my body, is my chemical vibration, my chemical storage of low feelings, of bad feelings, of hell feelings, are being interpreted with the help of my light body, a high vibration. So I'm putting my body into a high vibration to assess the low density vibration degenerative molecules of emotion that match the emotional state of my wounds. When I've been doing that and my light body has been going higher, I get clear information from my high self, from the Christos blueprint, which then in turn turns to God, right? And as I've gotten closer to source, where the photons of light are more dense, in a spiritual belief system, this is considered the oversoul. And all of these lines, time, this is time, this is space. So why don't we put that in here now? So this is time. This is space. Dense emotions are further away. High emotions are higher. You are the entire extension of source. So your past lifetimes, your genetic imprint of being an egg inside your mom's ovaries while she was inside your grandma, and again and again and again, in the anti-material universe is still all you. So your ancestry work is actually your light body work, your soul retrieval work. Your physical work on the chemical level is your space work, the 3D time physical healing, and then tuning your physical conductor into the vibration of your light body. Okay, so that was a little bit of a side note. Now, what I have noticed with the people that are in my life and the people that have exited my life, the resonance that I have on the oversoul level is unconditional love. Because the people, and I played a role in this too, right? Like this is my transition. This is a reflection of my state of my self-judgment and my judgment of other. The higher I've gotten my light body up here, the more I've connected with people on the oversoul level that I know unconditionally love me because they don't make fun of me ever in the way that I used to be made fun of before. That's kind of like my thing, my measure as a reflection of my growth, because my nervous system response to my inner child wounding was, who do you want me to be? What do you want me to do? Who do you want me to be? What do you want me to do? Oh my God, you don't like me. And so my wounding, I had a nervous system response of what the holistic psychologist calls the fawn response, the people pleasing. And then my inner child became smaller and smaller and smaller, because what I learned in that situation was that who I was as the divine will of God, by the human conditioning, that who I was not okay. So I kept removing who I was to put on my ego, my mask, to make that person happy, which ultimately meant I had to be the exact opposite of what the other person needed me to be happy. So in my growth that I've been sharing with you since I started my podcast in 2015, is that as I have reconnected, and not even reconnected because you're always connected, as I have come up from my wounds and gotten higher to more photons of light clustered together on the oversoul level, I've connected with different people. So as odd as it might sound, during quarantine, my life has expanded exponentially versus gotten smaller. And it's because of the vibration of the light body and the work through the chemical body. Now, another way, okay, are you with me? Let me see. Awesome. Okay. So you're with me, say hi. So now another way to look at this, okay, because if you look at a recent post, I talked about that humanity is going through shadow work right now. Now, there's an idea that our chakras are actually spheres of consciousness, which means that our physical body, as above, so below, our physical body is a universe in and of itself, okay? And from this perception, we have root chakra. So this is our primal field, primal fears. Thank the reptilians for seeding us with this information, because Earth is manifestation school of being able to have experiences that say, I like, I dislike. But what has happened is the reptilian brain has overrun everything. And instead of filtering our choices of like and dislike through our heart, which tells us, are we in alignment with our high self, we're processing through our primal fear. And when you process through fear, your light body is constricted, it depresses, and your chemical body secretes hormones of degenerative hormones. Next one, so that's the densest, right? But we still needed it. It was still necessary. So then now we have the sacral. And this is creation. And creation, because it does have to do with sex, sexuality, who you want to fuck and how you want to fuck. And as your divine will of God, how do you want to extend your stream of consciousness, your stream of love from source? The flip side of it is shame. And like, we don't even like need to go there and talk about shame, right? Because we already know what that is. Now, we're getting into solar plexus. So this is identity. And when you are attuned and you are aware that you are a photon of light, an extension of source energy, if you're aware of that, what happens is your connection to source and your connection to source, your oversoul, your high self, and who you are in this current time, space, reality gets projected out of your personal Son of God and shown to the world, this is who I am. When we are not aware that we are an extension of source, this becomes a receptor. And we take in the information from the outside to tell us who we are. This is by wounds, and this is by our culture. Now, here's the real interesting part. I have found in my inner work and research that I did, my last post talks about the research, the one I posted this morning. I have found that the heart is actually not this, it is a space of unconditional love, but it's not as cute and flowery as I thought it was. And the reason why I say that is because if you listen to any of the Love is a Verb podcast episodes, I shared with you that when I went so strong and heavy into strength training and mindset, I live in LA and I was working in film and production and stuff. And there's a lot of like spiritual people that like then change their minds when the energy feels off. And now I'm that person, but they used to drive me crazy. And so I was like, this heart stuff and this spirituality stuff is so stupid. Like nobody's committed. And so I've always like turned off from the heart. And it wasn't until 2015 when my gym closed that I had to figure out another way to do things, because I realized my mindset and my physical actions had only gotten me so far and the business closed. So 2015 is really when I've been working on my heart space. And what I found, especially through this last year, is that the heart space is actually more of this neutral center that you bring all of the low vibrations from these chakras that anchor you to this 3D space-time reality, and you constantly filter them, because these emotions go on and on and on, deep and deep and deep, because as far as you may feel from feeling connected, lovable, worthy, as far deep as you are into your self-harm habits, like mine was binge eating, as far away from feeling good that you are in your mind of how you perceive how fucked up you are, that's how far you can go down in your processing. So that brings us back to the ancestor stuff, which genetically you can clear the trauma that was passed down through the womb, because you're using your connection to high source, your oversoul, and God to use that vibrational body to facilitate the chemical body shifting. So the heart is actually this place where when you're connected and you're like, okay, I know I'm a stream of consciousness coming from source. I know that when I have an automatic response of my fear, an automatic response of shame or guilt, an automatic response of trying to fit the mold to make somebody else happy, oh, fuck. If those are my automatic responses, I'm actually not connected up here. I'm connected below. What do I need to shift? And that's the processing. And the what do I need to shift is whatever I'm feeling now, what's the opposite of emotion that my high self resides in that I need to bring my body up to speed with? Then what I'm finding out is, because I've been really hesitant and afraid to like share this stuff with you, because my stress response is explaining versus this is my perception, take it or leave it. So I'm trying my best not to share with you all my resources to validate why this new belief system has worked for me, and just tell you what it is. And if you know me, you know I have neck problems. So what's next? What's next is the throat chakra. And that's speaking. You want to get super spiritual, speaking the word of God. And if you are an extension of source, a divine will of God, you are speaking your truth, whatever that is for you. So this is for anybody. It doesn't matter what side of all of the arguments you're on. This is for everyone. And what I've noticed is that I've gotten really far with all of this work, especially last month when I really like paid attention to my inner child, to connect, to see how much I can maintain this connection more often than not. And what I noticed is that when my focus switched into the throat chakra for October, I'm learning things faster and connecting higher faster. Because what happens is, by me voicing this consciousness and getting feedback, positive or negative, from out there, and I ask another question, or I pull up another possible wound from having someone project onto me, I run right back into my heart and figure out, like, how does this relate? What does it do? How can I be more helpful? How can I grow stronger in my extension of source versus further away from it? And that's what's been happening for me. It's really fucking cool. It's really interesting. November for me and my friend Joya is going to be third eye. And that's really crazy because that is the full objective, looking down on the human experience and fully, even more so, releasing the attachment to any of the events in this current time-space reality, because time doesn't exist and we are an extension of source. And then if you know the chakra system, you know the last one is crown. And my friend Joya and I have been just, I don't think a lot of people would agree with this, but we basically keep our crown chakra open at all times. And that leaves a doorway for sure into negative beings. But like I said, negative beings, demons, devils aren't bad, because again, we are all of those things because there's parts of us that are really far away from source. So anytime we label something as bad, we're actually making the separation with ourselves, because even if I'm here right now speaking in my heart, in my throat chakra, if I say someone or something is bad, what I'm really doing is saying that this part of me down here that is 100% is the perpetrator in somebody else's life experience. If I say that a devil is bad, or a demon is bad, or a person is bad, I am cutting off a piece of me because I played that bad demonic role myself. And so honestly, for me, I'm actually like with these planets that are in retrograde, my intention is to be prepared for anybody who comes to me to tell me how I have hurt them. Because if somebody comes to me and tells me how I have hurt them, that means I was the perpetrator, I was the demon, I was the person who took a piece of their soul. Because if we're in any pain, discomfort, unease, fear, shame, not knowing who we are, it's because we're missing that high vibration to that one. And if I made somebody feel fear, shame, guilt, or like demoralizing who they are, that means that I like dimmed a part of their light or took a part of their energy. Because if they allowed me to hurt them, they gave. I was the vampire. I was the reptilian, and I used their emotion to grow. So I need to give it back. And in meditation practices that I did last year, I did this often, where I extended any energy that was not mine and cleansed by the light of the creator and given back to the person. And then I called in my energy that I lost when I let people hurt me, cleansed it in the light of the creator and took it back for myself. So this is really what time and space is. And if we can look at it like this, and we recognize that the planet is going through this very same process right now, we can kind of like, oh, okay, no matter how I die, because really we're in fear, we're in shame and guilt and blame. Well, this would be blame. We're in fear, shame, and blame. That's the negative energy to try to keep the old world. We're trying to hang on to the old time-space reality, where this break in consciousness and this break in the collective of people like me on either side of the fence are figuring out that they are a part of source energy, and this physical body doesn't actually matter on a whole lot of levels, on the infinite of who you are levels. The more of us who are doing this, the more we're actually being like, holy shit, I do not want the old world to come back. I want to build this one. And then what happens is these connections that you built on the high self and the oversoul level, everybody has an oversoul. So you start to attract the people who are in resonance with you that are going to help you build your new reality, which is why my life has expanded during this versus restricted. If you want help processing this, go to pilatesbarbellclub.com/anchor. There's a 12-minute video on there giving you a little bit more information about what's in the program, because my work, my divine will of God, is not only to tell you about this, but to go into your heart space with you, not with you. You never let anybody into your heart space but you, not with you. I am going to help you while you're in your heart space, observe what comes up when you're doing this processing, because it's dark shit. It's dark, it's scary, but the trick is to do it without judgment. And Mercury, messenger of the gods, is in Aquarius in my chart. And we're in the age of Aquarius. So I think I'm lined up pretty well as my extension of source to help you with this. So if you want help with it, go to the website. The challenge is on. The challenge is irrelevant to time. October is October indefinitely. And so you'll get access to yesterday's recording. And then also you'll be right on time for next week. Where we dive into one of these concepts even more, and then we'll add you to our Signal group, because we are not using Facebook for obvious reasons. It crashed. So we're going to be going into Signal. And so if you want that daily coaching, I already sent them a message this morning to gear them up for their day. And so if you want that, if you want help understanding this and how it applies to you, pilatesbarbellclub.com/anchor. Bye.